All right, welcome to the deep dive. You know why you're here, right? To get smart fast.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We take a mountain of info and dig out the gold. Today's gold mine, 50, count 'em, 50 advanced English words.
All neatly sorted by topic, so no matter what you're into, you'll find something.
That'll make you sound like a total pro. We're going way beyond just, dry dictionary definitions.
Think of it as your express lane to fluency.
We're going to dive deep into how to use these words in everyday life.
And in the professional world, too, we're talking productivity hacks.
Business smarts, tech talk, money matters.
Even, get this, how to understand your own emotions better.
All with these 50 powerhouse words.
Which, by the way, we've pulled from a resource made for advanced English learners.
Meaning, it's designed to help you grasp all the subtle shades of meaning.
We'll break it down category by category.
Giving you examples so you can see exactly how these words work in action.
Our mission:
Simple.
to give you a rock-solid understanding of these words.
And why they matter.
So, ready to dive in?
Let's go.
First up, a topic that hits home for all of us: productivity and time management.
Oh yeah, time, the ultimate treasure. This is something we all grapple with every single day.
And the better we understand these words, the more we can, master our time, right?
Totally. Our source lays out 10 essential terms. Let's kick things off with efficient.
Okay, efficient. What's the official word?
The definition is doing things in the best way with the least waste.
Like, I use an efficient time management system.
Boom, right there.
I feel like that word efficient, it pops up everywhere. From how factories run to just getting your errands done quickly.
Yeah, it's all about that balance, right? Max output, min input.
You know what comes to mind? That whole Pareto principle.
80% of your results come from just 20% of your efforts.
Exactly. So being efficient is like zeroing in on that powerful 20%.
Love that connection.
Yeah.
And speaking of things that can suck up our time, let's move on to something I'm sure we're all familiar with: procrastination.
Uh-oh, yeah.
Definition: delay doing something.
Right.
Example:
Let me guess. I always procrastinate on big projects.
bingo. Human nature right there.
Oh, so human. We all know that feeling. Putting off the big, scary task, even though it just makes things worse later on.
There's got to be a reason for it though, right?
Well, psychologists talk about this thing called present bias,
Like, we value what feels good now more than future reward,
which explains why we end up scrolling through social media instead of tackling that report.
which then forces us to, what's the word? Oh yeah, prioritize. Our next term.
Prioritize, definition.
Focus on the most important things first.
So I need to prioritize my tasks today.
Exactly. Simple idea, but game-changing when you actually put it into practice.
100%. And maybe, just maybe, if we're good at prioritizing, we won't have to,
Multitask so much.
multitask. That's the word.
It means, well, the definition says do multiple things at the same time.
She can multitask while working on her reports? Sure, sounds amazing.
Except, here's the thing. Studies show that true multitasking is, well, kind of a myth.
Wait, really?
Yep. Most of the time, what we're doing is rapidly switching between tasks.
And every time we switch, it costs us focus and efficiency.
Precisely.
Yeah.
So, ironically, trying to juggle too many things at once might make you less.
Productive.
That's the one, meaning getting a lot done.
I had a very productive morning. Makes you think. Maybe focusing on your top priorities and ditching the multitasking frenzy actually leads to better results.
Now you're talking. And if you do manage to become super productive, there might come a point where you need to
Delegate.
delegate, it is,
Definition.
to assign work to others,
As in, a good leader knows how to delegate tasks.
which means recognizing that you can't do it all yourself.
So true. Trying to be a superhero just leads to feeling
Overwhelmed.
overwhelmed. Yep. Meaning feeling stressed with too much work.
I feel overwhelmed with my responsibilities. Been there. It's a sign, though. A sign that something's got to change.
Like maybe how you're prioritizing.
Oh, what you need to delegate. See how these words, they all kind of connect, It's a cycle.
Poor prioritizing leads to overwhelm, which then makes it hard to be productive.
Whereas effective delegation and focus help you
Accomplish. What's the definition?
to successfully complete something.
I accomplished all my goals this year. Ah, that feeling.
The best. And when you consistently nail those accomplishments,
You're on your way to a healthy?
work-life balance,
That's the one. Meaning,
the right mix between work and personal life.
as in, maintaining work-life balance is important for mental health. Finding that sweet spot,
It's a constant dance for sure. So you see, These productivity and time management words, they're not just words.
They're like concepts that shape how we live our lives.
They really are. Makes you think, right?
Yeah.
How many of these terms hit a nerve for you in your own daily grind?
Now let's switch gears and head into the world of business and all things professional.
A whole new playing field. And mastering these words,
Can really make a difference, whether you're running your own show.
or climbing the corporate ladder,
Absolutely. This vocabulary is all about understanding how organizations work.
and communicating effectively.
So what's our first word in this category?
Let's start with entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Love that word.
Definition: a person who starts a business.
He became an entrepreneur at 22.
That's the dream for a lot of people nowadays.
Yeah. The entrepreneurial spirit is definitely having a moment.
To thrive in that world, though, you got to be
Innovative.
innovative. You got it. Meaning introducing new ideas.
The company is known for its innovative technology. That ability to think outside the box is pure gold in today's fast-changing landscape.
Couldn't agree more. And sometimes those new ideas need a little
Negotiation.
negotiation,
Definition.
discussion to reach an agreement.
Nailed it. The example sentence is,
The salary negotiation went well.
I like the sound of that.
Yeah, doesn't it? Whether it's about money, resources, or deadlines, being able to negotiate win-win solutions,
Is crucial in any professional setting.
for sure. And you know what else helps? Being
Sweetie.
strategic.
Birthday.
Strategic. Meaning, let's see, well planned for success.
So like we need a strategic approach to marketing.
Right. It's about having that long-term vision,
Thinking several steps ahead.
like a chess game. Then there's the whole world of
Networking.
networking, such a buzzword.
But so important. What's the official definition?
Meeting people for business or career growth.
Networking is essential for career success. Couldn't agree more. Expanding your circle.
Making those connections that benefit everyone.
It's all about building relationships. But, you know, when you're out there
I
networking,
gotta show them.
you're
Competent,
competent indeed.
meaning
Skilled and capable.
as in she is a competent project manager,
Demonstrating your skills builds that trust.
and credibility.
Exactly. But even if you're super competent, sometimes you need to be, well, a little
Persuasive.
persuasive is the word. Definition.
To be convincing others.
Like his speech was very persuasive. Being persuasive is all about understanding your audience.
Tailoring your message so it really lands with them.
You can't just have a strong opinion.
You also gotta be,
Analytical.
that's another key one,
Meaning
using logic and reasoning.
he has strong analytical skills. Being able to break down complex problems.
And make data-driven decisions. That's highly valued in the business world.
No doubt. And you know what else employers love?
Someone with initiative.
Yeah.
Taking action without being told.
So she showed great initiative in solving the issue.
Being proactive. Going above and beyond. That's what stands out.
For sure. And then at the end of the day, for many businesses,
It all boils down to being
client-focused.
client-focused.
Prioritizing customers' needs.
Our company is very client-focused. It's all about the customer.
Happy customers, happy business. So this whole set of business and professional terms, it really paints a picture, doesn't it?
Of what's valued in the workplace. Totally. Mastering these words gives you a real edge in navigating that world. Which situations in your own work life make you think about these words the most?
Now hold on to your hats. We're zooming into the lightning-fast world of technology and all things digital.
A world where the language is constantly evolving.
Staying up to date with the vocab here is basically essential for understanding, well, modern life.
It's the key to not feeling like a dinosaur. Let's kick things off with a big one.
Algorithm.
Algorithm. What does it mean?
It's a step-by-step set of rules for solving problems.
Social media platforms use algorithms to show content. But it's important to remember that different algorithms,
You can have different goals. Some might prioritize showing you the latest and greatest.
while others try to guess what you'll find most engaging, even if it's old news,
Fascinating. And with so much of our lives now playing out online,
cybersecurity becomes crucial.
cybersecurity. Definition.
Protecting computers from hacking,
Cybersecurity is essential for online businesses. It's like the digital security guard.
keeping our information safe from all those nasty threats. Malware, phishing attempts,
The whole shebang. Then, of course, there's the ever-expanding world of
artificial intelligence or AI.
AI. That's the one everyone's talking about.
Definition: machines that think like humans.
AI is revolutionizing many industries, from self-driving cars to, believe it or not, medical diagnoses.
It's mind-blowing how fast it's evolving. And a lot of this tech relies on
Cloud computing.
cloud computing. Definition.
Storing data on the internet.
Most companies use cloud computing for storage. It's like having this massive shared online space,
Accessible from anywhere.
which leads to a data-driven approach,
Data-driven, what does that mean?
making decisions based on facts and numbers.
We use a data-driven approach for marketing. Makes sense. We're swimming in data these days.
Being able to analyze it and use it to make smart choices
Is more important than ever. But here's the thing, all this digital activity,
leaves behind a
digital footprint,
digital footprint. It is. Definition.
the online record of someone's activities.
Your digital footprint can affect job opportunities. Food for thought. Right.
Big time.
Right.
What we do online can have real-world consequences.
Absolutely. Another huge force in the digital world is
Automation.
automation. What does it mean?
Using technology to do tasks without humans.
Automation improves efficiency in factories.
Streamlining processes, reducing the need for manual labor, especially in those repetitive tasks.
It's changing the game across so many industries.
And then, of course, there's how we consume entertainment these days. Through
Streaming.
definition.
Watching videos or music online without downloading.
So I prefer streaming movies instead of downloading them.
It's all about that instant access.
On-demand entertainment.
Right.
And let's not forget the giant elephant in the digital room.
E-commerce.
E-commerce, definition.
Buying and selling online.
E-commerce has changed the way we shop. It's transformed retail.
Brought a whole new level of convenience. But to keep all those online transactions safe. Encryption?
Encryption, yep.
Meaning
Protecting information by converting it into code.
banking apps use encryption for security. Scrambling our data so only the right people can read it.
So, you see, this tech and digital vocabulary,
It's not just about keeping up with the latest gadgets.
it's about understanding the fundamental shifts happening all around us.
Being a savvy citizen of the digital age, which of these tech terms pops up most often in your world?
Now, let's talk about something that affects us all every single day. Shopping and finance.
Money matters. And knowing these words can really help you make smarter choices with your cash.
Absolutely. First up, we've got
Disposable income,
disposable income.
meaning money left after paying expenses.
As in, I use my disposable income for travel.
Knowing how much you have left after the bills are paid.
Is the cornerstone of budgeting and financial planning.
The foundation of it all.
Yeah.
Of course, what you can actually buy with that disposable income.
To be affected by
Inflation.
inflation. Yep. Meaning,
The increase in prices over time.
like, inflation has made everything more expensive. It's crazy how much prices have gone up.
There are actually different types of inflation.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, you've got demand pull inflation, where too much money's chasing too few goods.
Which drives prices up.
And then there's cost push inflation, where rising production costs get passed on to us consumers.
So it's like a double whammy. Once you've got a handle on your disposable income, you might think about
Investment,
investment, meaning,
putting money into something to gain profit.
as in, real estate is a good investment.
But there are all sorts of investments out there.
Stocks, bonds, you name it.
Understanding how they work is key for long-term financial growth.
And don't forget about interest rates.
Interest rates. That's
The
the
cost of borrowing money.
interest rates are rising this year, which affects everything.
Mortgages, business loans, you name it.
If you're trying to free up more disposable income for investing, you might consider being more
Frugal,
frugal. I like that word.
it means careful about spending money. I live a frugal lifestyle to save money, making conscious choices.
Being mindful of where your money goes and when you do spend.
It's always good to know if something is
Refundable.
refundable. Definition.
Can be returned for money back.
This item is refundable within 30 days.
Gives you a bit of a safety net. Then, every time you buy something, you're making a
Transaction.
transaction. Yep.
Definition.
An exchange of money.
Online transactions are becoming more common.
Cash, digital payments, so many ways to move money around these days. Now, sometimes the whole economy hits a rough patch. What do we call that?
A recession.
Recession, meaning
A period of economic decline.
the country is facing a recession. It can affect jobs, business profits.
The whole picture. For those who are into investing, understanding
Stock market is essential.
stock market, that's where
You buy and sell shares of publicly traded companies.
little pieces of big businesses.
Exactly. And as the saying goes, the stock market is unpredictable.
No kidding. Finally, For businesses, a crucial metric is
Revenue,
meaning
money earned by a business.
our company's revenue increased by 20% this year. That's the money coming in before any expenses.
The lifeblood of any business. So as you can see, these shopping and finance words
They give us a glimpse into the inner workings of both personal finance.
and the broader economy.
It all connects. Thinking about your own finances, which of these terms has the biggest impact on your day-to-day decisions? Okay, last but certainly not least, we're diving into the fascinating world of emotions and personal development.
Understanding ourselves and how we relate to others.
This is where it gets really interesting. What's our first word in this category?
Let's start with resilient.
Resilient, love that word.
It means able to recover from difficulties.
Like she is very resilient after facing challenges.
Being able to bounce back from setbacks. That's a key ingredient for growth.
No doubt. And a powerful tool for navigating those ups and downs is
Mindfulness.
mindfulness.
Yeah.
Definition.
Being aware of the present moment.
Practicing mindfulness helps reduce stress. It's about being present.
Without judgment.
And right alongside mindfulness, we have
Self-awareness.
self-awareness, meaning
Understanding yourself.
self-awareness is key to personal growth.
Yeah.
Knowing your strengths, weaknesses, values, those emotional triggers.
It's foundational for making positive changes. Now, when it comes to connecting with others,
Being charismatic can be a real advantage.
charismatic. Definition.
Attracting people with personality.
He is a charismatic speaker. It's that magnetic quality that draws people in.
For sure. But charisma isn't everything. For truly meaningful connections,
You need empathy.
empathy,
Definition.
understanding others' feelings,
Good leaders show empathy for their team. Putting yourself in someone else's shoes.
seeing the world through their eyes, that's powerful.
It really is. And you know what else can have a big impact on our well-being?
Gratitude,
Gratitude it is.
meaning thankfulness.
Practicing gratitude improves happiness.
Appreciating the good things in life, both big and small.
It can really shift your perspective. Now, on the flip side,
Sometimes we get stuck in the trap of
overthinking.
overthinking. Definition.
Thinking too much about something.
I tend to overthink decisions. Been there? The key is recognizing when you're spiraling.
And then finding ways to break free, of course, to achieve our big goals.
We need a healthy dose of
Ambition.
ambition, meaning
Having big goals.
like she is ambitious and wants to be CEO, setting your sights high.
And going for it. But ambition without
Authenticity.
can lead you astray.
Authenticity
Being
meaning
real and genuine.
as in people appreciate authentic leaders. Being true to yourself.
Aligning your actions with your values.
Because that's what builds trust. And finally, we have
Intuitive.
intuitive, definite.
Understanding things without explanation.
She has an intuitive sense of people's emotions, that gut feeling.
The instinct that goes beyond logic. So, you see, this whole realm of emotions and personal development
It gives us tools to understand our inner world.
and our relationships with others.
It's a journey of self-discovery. Which of these words resonates most deeply with you right now on your own personal journey? Well, that brings us to the end of our deep dive into these 50 advanced vocabulary words.
We've covered so much ground, from getting things done to the complexities of the business world
The ever-evolving landscape of technology, the ins and outs of finance.
and the rich tapestry of human emotions.
You're now equipped to use these words with precision and confidence,
To communicate your ideas more effectively.
to navigate the world with greater awareness and understanding. As you reflect on this deep dive, ask yourself,
Which words were completely new to you?
and which ones gave you a fresh perspective?
A new way of seeing things. Now, for our final thought.
Something to ponder as you go about your day.
Imagine this. How might consciously weaving even a few of these words into your everyday vocabulary,
Change the way you perceive the world.
the way you interact with others?
The power of language is truly transformative.
More than you might think. All right, welcome to another deep dive, everybody. Today we're taking a look at something that I think a lot of you are going to find pretty useful, especially if you're trying to get really comfortable with everyday English conversation. We've got a list here of 50 words, and it's being billed as like the essentials. So we're going to break these down, figure out why they matter so much, and how you can start using them like a pro.
Yeah. I mean, think about it, right? If you can master these 50 words, That's a huge jump in your ability to communicate in all kinds of daily situations.
Exactly. And what's cool is they've organized these words into 5 categories that really do cover a lot of ground. So we've got words related to your daily routine and productivity, work and business stuff, navigating all that technology and social media, the language of shopping and money, and of course, expressing your emotions in social life.
And that's the key here, right? We want to go beyond just knowing the definition of a word. It's about understanding the subtle ways they get used, like when is it appropriate to say postpone versus delay? We'll get into all that.
Perfect. Okay, so first up, let's tackle this daily routine and productivity category. And I gotta say, the first word on the list is schedule, which at first glance might seem kind of basic, right?
You'd think so. But here's the thing. Schedule is more than just a list of times and appointments. It's really about how we structure our time and our commitments. Like saying, I always check my schedule in the morning. It's not just about knowing what's next. It's a sign that you're proactive, organized. You're not just reacting to things, you're planning ahead.
It's almost like a statement of intent for your day, huh?
Totally. And you know what's kind of fun? The word schedule itself, way back when, it literally meant a little piece of paper, a scroll with writing on it. So it's come a long way.
That is cool. All right, well, speaking of things that structure our day, how about the dreaded commute? And of course, we can't forget its best friend, rush hour.
Oh man, don't even get me started. I feel like everyone has a commute horror story.
Right, it's like a universal experience, especially if you live in a city.
And those two words really capture that, commute and rush hour. They speak to this whole shared experience of time spent traveling, often stressed, sometimes delayed. Like when you hear someone say, my commute takes 30 minutes, but traffic is terrible during rush hour, you instantly get it. You know exactly what they're dealing with.
Totally. It's like we're all united by this common enemy. Okay, let's move on to something a little more manageable, appointment.
All right, so with an appointment, we're talking about that specific time you've set aside for something. It could be a meeting, a doctor's visit, whatever. It signals that you've made a commitment to be somewhere at a particular time. It's more formal than just saying, I'm meeting a friend. It's got more weight.
Yeah, you can't just casually blow off an appointment. There are usually consequences.
Right. And that brings us to our next word, which is often linked to those consequences, deadline.
Oh yeah, deadline. Yeah. That word can trigger some stress for sure.
No doubt. It's that hard stop, that non-negotiable date and time by which something absolutely has to be done. It drives us, motivates us, and sometimes freaks us out a little.
For real. Like if someone tells you the deadline for this project is Friday, you know it's time to get serious.
Exactly. But of course, to meet those deadlines, to get things done effectively, you need to be productive. You need to tackle those tasks.
Right. And those are words we like to hear, right? They imply progress, achievement. It's that good feeling of getting stuff done.
It is. But it's interesting how these words productive and task, they kind of go hand in hand, but they mean different things to different people. Like for some, being productive is all about quantity. How many things can I check off my list? But for others, it's more about quality, about focusing on the most important stuff and doing it well.
That's so true. And figuring out what's most important is where priority comes in, right?
Exactly. It's about making those strategic choices, deciding what needs to be done first, what can wait, what can be delegated. Like saying, my priority is to finish this report. It shows you're focused on the right things, the things that are really going to move the needle.
And then, of course, sometimes even with best intentions and priorities, life happens and you have to postpone things.
Happens all the time, right? Postpone is a great word because it acknowledges that change is inevitable. Like, we had to postpone the meeting. It's a nice way of saying, okay, we're pushing this back, but we're still committed to it.
It's way better than just saying cancel.
Way better. All right, and last but not least in this category, we have reminder.
Oh, reminder. Our digital savior.
Seriously, we all rely on reminders to keep us on track. Think about it. Without that little ding on your phone, would you remember all your appointments, deadlines, birthdays, everything?
Probably not. Reminder is our external brain, helping us stay organized and on top of things.
Exactly, and it's such a simple word, but so powerful. Okay, ready to move on to the world of work and business.
Let's do it.
All right, first up is conference. And I think it's interesting how this word has evolved, especially with the rise of virtual events.
Right. It used to be all about those big fancy gatherings, but now a conference can be online, accessible to anyone, anywhere.
And even though the format has changed, the core idea is the same, right? It's about people coming together to learn, to network, to share ideas about a particular field or industry.
Totally. It's still all about connection and collaboration.
Okay, next we've got interview, which I think it's safe to say can be a pretty nerve-wracking experience.
For sure. Whether you're the one being interviewed or the one conducting the interview, there's definitely pressure involved.
And for good reason, right? An interview is that crucial step in the hiring process where you're assessing someone's qualifications, their personality, their fit for the role. It's a big deal for both the candidate and the company.
And that's why it's so important to have a stellar resume or CV to showcase your experience and skills.
Right. Now, I know some people get tripped up on the difference between a resume and a CV, but in most cases, you can use them interchangeably. A resume is generally a concise overview of your work history and qualifications, tailored for a specific job.
And a CV is more common in academic settings, and it tends to be more comprehensive, including all your publications, presentations, that kind of thing.
Exactly. But either way, the key is to keep it updated and ready to go because you never know when an opportunity might arise.
And once you've landed that job, feedback becomes super important for your growth and development.
Oh, absolutely. Feedback is that constructive criticism, the advice, the suggestions that help us improve our work, our skills, our understanding.
And it's not always easy to receive, right?
Sometimes not. But the best leaders and professionals, they actively seek out feedback and use it to get better.
Now, sometimes in a work setting, you need to engage in a little bit of negotiation to get what you want, whether it's a higher salary or a better project.
Right. Negotiation is all about finding that common ground, that win-win solution through discussion and compromise. It can be a tricky process, but it's a valuable skill to have for sure.
And of course, one of the things many people are negotiating for is a promotion.
Yes. A promotion is that recognition of your hard work and achievements. It's that step up the ladder with more responsibility and hopefully more money.
It can be a huge motivator, for sure. Now, let's not forget about the people we work with every day, our coworkers.
Yes, our coworkers. They can make or break your work experience.
So true. Having positive relationships with your coworkers can make all the difference in terms of your job satisfaction and overall productivity.
Absolutely. A supportive team environment is invaluable. Okay, and now for the not-so-fun part of working overtime.
Ugh, yeah. Overtime can be a necessary evil sometimes, especially when deadlines are looming.
It's all about balance, right? Some overtime here and there might be okay, but if it becomes a regular thing, it can lead to burnout and negatively impact your work-life balance.
For sure. All right, before we move on, I want to touch on one more important word in this category: contract.
Oh yes, the contract. It's the foundation of any formal agreement in the business world. It lays out the terms and conditions, the expectations, the rights and responsibilities of all parties involved.
It's there to protect everyone and make sure everyone is on the same page.
Exactly. Okay, ready to switch gears and talk tech.
Let's do it. It feels like the world of technology and social media is constantly evolving, and the language we use to talk about it is changing too.
You're not kidding. But some things remain constant, like the never-ending need for updates.
Oh yeah, it seems like every app and device is constantly begging for an update.
And you know, it's for good reason. Updates are all about keeping things current, fixing bugs, improving security. It's important to stay on top of them.
Totally. But let's talk about the really fundamental actions we all do online. Upload and download. I mean, we're doing these things all the time, right?
Countless times a day. Upload is all about sending your stuff out into the digital world. Pictures, videos, documents, whatever. You're transferring it from your device to a server, to the cloud, to a website.
And then download is bringing stuff from the internet to your device.
Exactly. It's how we get new apps, music, movies, all that good stuff.
And of course, all of this is happening while we're online.
Right. Online is such a ubiquitous word now. It basically means being connected to the internet, plugged into this whole digital world.
And while we're online, we're often bombarded with notifications.
Oh, the dreaded notifications. They can be helpful, but they can also be a major distraction.
Tell me about it. It's like a constant stream of pings, buzzes, and alerts vying for our attention.
And it's all thanks to Wi-Fi, that magical wireless technology that connects us to the internet without any cables.
I feel like free Wi-Fi has become like the most sought-after amenity everywhere you go.
It totally has. All right, so once we're online and connected, what do? We search for stuff.
Right. Search is how we navigate the vastness of the internet, how we find answers, explore new topics, discover new things.
It's like having a library at your fingertips. And you can find anything you want with just a few keywords.
But to protect all that valuable information online, we need a strong password. It's our first line of defense against hackers and security breaches.
Absolutely. A good password is crucial for cybersecurity.
Oh yeah, cybersecurity has become a huge issue these days as more and more of our lives are online.
It's all about protecting our data, our privacy, our online identities from those who would do us harm.
Definitely. Okay, last word in this tech-heavy category, stream.
Streaming. It's how we consume so much of our entertainment these days.
It's so convenient, right? You can watch movies, TV shows, listen to music, all without having to download anything.
And the choices are endless. It's completely changed the way we think about media.
Okay, ready to do a little shopping? All right, well, first word that comes to mind when I think about shopping is bargain.
Who doesn't love a good bargain? It's that feeling of getting something you want at a price that's way lower than you expected.
It's like a little victory.
It is. But sometimes, of course, things don't work out and you need to get a refund.
Right. A refund is basically getting your money back when you return something, whether it's defective, doesn't fit, or you just changed your mind.
It's a good thing to keep in mind as a consumer.
And to make sure we're not spending more than we can afford, it's important to have a budget.
A budget is that plan you make for your money, figuring out how much you can spend on different things each month. It helps you stay on track financially.
And to keep track of all those purchases, we rely on receipts.
Right. The little pieces of paper that prove you bought something. Keep them. You never know when you might need them.
Especially if you need to return something and get that refund.
Exactly. Okay, and speaking of saving money, who can resist a discount?
Not me. A discount is like a little gift from the shopping gods. It's that percentage off the regular price that makes you feel like you're getting a steal.
Totally. It's a powerful motivator. But of course, the flip side of spending is debt.
Ugh, debt. It's something we all try to avoid.
Debt is basically owing money to someone else. Whether it's a bank, a credit card company, a friend, whatever, it's a burden that can weigh you down.
And to show our appreciation for good service, we often leave a tip.
Yes. A tip is that extra bit of money you give to someone who's provided a service, like a waiter, a bartender, a hairdresser. It's a nice way to say thank you.
And of course, when we're out shopping or paying for things, we usually need our trusty wallet.
Right. It's where we keep our cash, our cards, our ID. You don't want to leave home without it.
And the person we interact with when we're ready to pay is the cashier.
Right. The cashier is the one who processes our transactions, rings up our purchases, and hands us that all-important receipt.
And to help us carry all those purchases, we use a shopping cart.
Especially at the grocery store. Trying to manage a big grocery haul without a shopping cart would be a nightmare.
Okay, ready to explore some emotions.
Bring it on.
All right, well, let's start with a positive one. Excited.
Excited. It's that feeling of anticipation, of looking forward to something good that's going to happen. Like, I'm so excited for my vacation.
It's a great feeling. Of course, not all emotions are so positive. Sometimes we feel nervous, especially when we're facing a challenge or an uncertain situation.
Nervous is totally normal, right? It's that feeling of anxiety, of butterflies in your stomach that comes up when you're outside your comfort zone.
But when we overcome those nerves and believe in ourselves, we feel confident.
Confidence is so important, right? It's that belief in your own abilities, that feeling of self-assurance that allows you to take risks and achieve your goals.
But let's be real, there are times when we all feel a little embarrassed.
Oh, for sure. Embarrassed is that feeling of awkwardness, of wanting to hide under a rock when something goes wrong or you make a mistake, especially in a social situation.
And when things don't go our way, when we face obstacles, we can feel frustrated.
Frustration is that feeling of being stuck, of wanting something to be different, of not being able to control the situation. It can be pretty annoying.
Definitely. But on the flip side, it's so important to cultivate feelings of gratitude.
Gratitude is all about appreciating the good things in our lives, the people, the experiences, the little things. It's a powerful emotion that can really shift your perspective.
And sometimes, despite all the good things, we can still feel lonely.
Loneliness is a tough one. It's that feeling of isolation, of disconnection from others. It's important to recognize those feelings and reach out for support.
Absolutely. But a great antidote to loneliness is being curious, is engaging with the world and learning new things.
Curiosity is what keeps us growing, keeps us asking questions, keeps us exploring. It's a wonderful quality to nurture.
And then, of course, we all need a little downtime, a little laziness now and then.
it's okay to be lazy sometimes. It's all about finding that balance between work and rest, between being productive and allowing yourself to chill out.
Exactly. And finally, one of the best feelings in the world, proud.
Pride, that feeling of accomplishment, of satisfaction, of knowing you've done something well, it's something to savor.
It's a great motivator, too. Now, before we wrap up, I wanted to share this little dialogue that was included in the list of words. It says, "Did you update your phone?" "Yes, but I forgot my password and had to reset it." "Oh no, I hope you didn't lose your data." "No worries, I backed up everything online."
Perfect example of how these words we've been talking about show up in everyday conversation, right? You've got update, password, online. It's like a little tech drama unfolding.
Exactly. All right, so there you have it, folks. We've gone through these 50 essential words, explored their meanings, and hopefully given you a better understanding of how they're used in real-life situations.
We've covered everything from your daily routine to your work life, from the digital worlds to the realm of emotions. And the key takeaway here is that language is all about context.
Right. It's not just about knowing the definition of a word. It's about understanding the subtle nuances, the different ways they can be used depending on the situation.
Exactly. And the more you expose yourself to real English conversation, the more you'll start to pick up on those nuances.
So keep practicing, keep listening, keep talking.
And for our final thought, we encourage you to think about your own daily interactions. What words do you find yourself using the most? What words do you struggle with? And what are some words you'd like to add to your vocabulary?
It's all about making language your own, finding the words that work best for you, and using them to express yourself confidently and effectively.
So keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, have fun with it. Okay, so this is going to be interesting. You sent in a beginner's podcast script about 50 common English words, and I think we were both kind of like 50 common words. What's there to deep dive into?
Yeah, right.
So
that's kind of the fun of it.
yeah, and that's exactly it. I mean, we're not going to just go through a vocabulary list.
Right.
We're going to explore like how these fundamental words shape how we understand the world around us and how we interact with each other, and hopefully give you those aha moments along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think it's easy to take these kind of foundational elements of language for granted.
Sure.
But when we do pause and examine them, we can actually uncover some pretty surprising aspects of how we communicate and how we understand the world around us.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating about it is how much information and nuance we can pack into even the simplest words.
Exactly.
Like a single word can convey so much.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's unpack this a little bit. The first set of words in your material focuses on the morning routine. So we have wake up, that moment when our eyes open to a new day.
Right.
Then comes the dreaded or sometimes welcomed alarm.
Yep.
You know, sometimes it's a savior, sometimes it's like, not that sound again.
Right.
Then we brush. Pretty universal act of hygiene, I hope.
Hopefully, yeah.
Then we have shower to get us feeling fresh and ready for the day.
Yep.
And finally breakfast, fuel to kickstart our day. And the script gives like these very straightforward meanings, like
Sure.
wake up, open your eyes in the morning, and super simple examples like I wake up at 7 a.m. every day, or I usually have fruit for breakfast.
Yeah.
Very basic stuff.
Right. And I think what strikes me is how significant this small collection of morning routine words is.
Yeah.
I mean, they represent the sequence of almost ritualistic actions that many of us perform without even thinking.
Yeah, it's true.
Like, we don't even think about it. We just do
We're
it.
just on autopilot.
Totally on autopilot. And think about how those 5 words alone, wake up, alarm, brush, shower, breakfast, can kind of sketch a basic outline of the start of someone's day.
Yeah.
It really highlights how fundamental these actions and these words are to just basic human experience.
It's like it makes you realize how these like seemingly basic terms are kind of like the starting point for describing, a very personal part of our day. So think about your own morning for a moment. How would you use these 5 words? Wake up, alarm, brush, shower, and breakfast to tell someone about your morning routine.
Okay, sure. So
What little details or individual habits could you convey using just those terms?
I actually wake up before my alarm every day.
Yeah.
So I don't need to use the word alarm.
Wow.
I wake up, I brush my teeth, and I hop in the shower.
Okay.
I usually skip breakfast, though.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting. All right. So let's move on to the next category here. We have words related to work and school, and these words are office, a place of business. A lot of professional work gets done there. Computer. An absolutely essential tool in many workplaces and schools these days.
Yeah.
Meeting, a gathering for discussion, decision-making,
Sure.
homework, those tasks assigned for study outside of class.
Yep.
And teacher, the guide in the learning environment. And again, the script gives these like super simple definitions and examples like, my office is on the 3rd floor, or I need to finish my homework tonight.
Yeah.
So very straightforward stuff.
And what's interesting here is that how these words represent structures and activities that organize a significant portion of many people's lives beyond their personal routines.
It's true.
So we have the personal routine in the morning, and then we go out into the world.
Yeah.
And these are the words that we use to talk about what we're doing out there.
Yeah, and it's really interesting to think about how the traditional understanding of some of these words is also evolving.
Oh,
Like even if you don't go to a physical office every day,
right.
you might have a designated workspace at home that you could call your office.
Right. My office is in my bedroom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And homework isn't just for students anymore. A lot of adults engage in continuous learning or professional development
That's true.
that could fall under that umbrella.
Yeah.
So even if your daily life doesn't perfectly fit these traditional definitions, how might you apply these words office, computer, meeting, homework, teacher to describe your own current activities or learning endeavors?
Well, I think that's the beauty of language, is that it's flexible.
It is.
And these seemingly straightforward words can adapt to describe new realities
That's a great point.
and evolving ways of life.
Yeah, and I think that's something that we'll see kind of throughout this whole deep dive.
Absolutely.
Is how these words are so adaptable.
Yeah.
All right, so next up we have a category that's truly universal: food.
Okay. Everybody eats.
The words here are lunch, that midday break for a meal.
Yeah.
Dinner, the evening meal.
Coffee, a very popular caffeinated drink. We both enjoy some coffee.
Absolutely. I'm actually drinking some right now.
As am I. Water, essential for survival.
Yes.
And fruit, a naturally sweet and often healthy food. And again, the definitions are very simple, like lunch, a meal eaten in the middle of the day.
Right.
And the examples are things like, I usually have lunch around 1 p.m.
Yeah.
And drinking enough water is important. So,
Right. And what's really interesting is that regardless of culture or specific dietary habits,
it's true.
everyone interacts with the concepts represented by these words.
It's a great point.
It's a truly unifying vocabulary.
Think about how many times you use these words, lunch, dinner, coffee, water, and fruit in just one day.
Oh, yeah.
It's probably a constant stream of conversation, right?
Probably. Yeah.
What other, perhaps more specific words do you already know that build on this basic vocabulary?
Sure.
For example, instead of just saying fruit, you might say apple.
Right.
Or banana. Or instead of dinner, you might be talking about sushi or pasta. Right. Or enchiladas.
Exactly.
Yeah. And I think what that illustrates is how this core vocabulary acts as a foundation upon which we build more detailed and nuanced descriptions as our language skills develop.
Yeah.
And as we need to be more specific.
Absolutely. All right, our next category takes us to a more personal and intimate sphere: home and family.
Okay.
The words included are house, the place where we live, bedroom, the room where we sleep,
Yeah.
kitchen, a space for preparing food,
Right.
parents, our mother and father, and family, the group of people we are closely related to. And the examples here are quite personal, like my house has a big garden,
Yeah.
or I love spending weekends with my family.
Yeah. And what's interesting about these words is the strong emotional associations they carry.
Absolutely.
House can represent security and comfort,
Yeah,
while family speaks to our deepest connections and a sense of belonging.
it's true.
These aren't just neutral terms. They often evoke really powerful feelings and memories.
They do. And, these words house, bedroom, kitchen, parents, and family, they really are central to our sense of self and our place in the world. So how do these words resonate with you personally? What kind of feelings or images do they bring to mind?
Oh, well, house for me brings to mind, a feeling of safety
Yeah.
and security. Family, well, my family's spread out all over the place.
Okay.
But it brings to mind a feeling of warmth and connection.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, it's interesting how even with these simple words,
Right.
kitchen for someone might be this like sterile, modern space, but for someone else, it might be this like warm, lived-in space with family recipes. And
Absolutely. Yeah, my grandmother's kitchen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So much meaning packed into such simple words.
Yeah.
All right, finally, we arrive at words that describe how we interact with others and spend our free time.
Okay.
This category includes friend, someone we enjoy spending time with, call, a conversation over the phone,
Yep.
message, or written communication, music, something we listen to for enjoyment,
Sure.
and movie, a visual story we watch. And examples from the script are, my best friend's name is Sarah, and do you want to watch a movie tonight?
Yeah, and I think what's interesting about this set of words is how they reflect our social needs
It's true.
and the ways that we seek enjoyment and connection outside of work or school.
Yep.
I mean, these words represent the building blocks of our social lives and our leisure activities.
Yeah, and it's interesting how technology has really shaped the way we use some of these words as well. Like, call now encompasses not just phone conversations,
Right.
but also video chats.
Right. FaceTime?
Exactly. And message can refer to anything from a text to a direct message on social media.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So much has changed,
Yeah.
even in just the last decade or so. So your source material also provided a short practice dialogue, which I think really shows how these words can work together in a natural way. It goes like this. A, what time do you wake up? B, I wake up at 7 a.m., take a shower, and eat breakfast. Then, A, do you drink coffee? B, yes, I drink coffee every morning.
I love how simple and effective that little dialogue is.
It is, right?
It effortlessly weaves together several of the words that we've been talking about to convey really practical information about someone's morning routine and habits.
Yeah.
It's a great illustration of how even a basic vocabulary can facilitate clear and concise communication.
And it really underscores how, these fundamental questions and answers that we use every day rely on this core set of words.
Absolutely.
They're the workhorses of everyday conversation.
They are. And it also highlights the importance of mastering these seemingly simple terms
Yes,
as a foundation for more complex communication.
absolutely. So as we wrap up this deep dive into what might seem like very basic vocabulary, it's clear that these common English words are really the essential groundwork for how we understand and talk about our daily lives from the moment we wake up to how we connect with a friend. And while they might appear elementary on the surface, understanding and effectively using these core words is really the very first step in broader language learning and confident communication.
Absolutely. And what's fascinating to me is how much meaning and context we can derive from even this relatively small set of words.
Yeah.
It really underscores their fundamental role in our ability to connect with each other and make sense of our experiences.
That's a perfect way to put it. So here's a final thought for you. You think about all the other seemingly simple words that exist beyond these 25 we've explored today. Each one is like a key that unlocks even more possibilities for understanding and expressing yourself.
That's a great way to think about it.
What other areas of basic vocabulary, perhaps words related to feelings, locations, actions, might you be curious to explore next to build on this foundational layer of language?
That's a great question.
Something to think about.
Yeah, I'll have to get back to you on that.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive.
This was fun.
It was fun. It's amazing how much we got out of 50 common English words.
I know, right?
All right. Until next time.
See ya.
Bye.